Hi there guys, and a very happy new year to you all. Well, 2014 has already started with a bang for us here at TechRadar after we descended on CES in Vegas to check out some of the hottest new tech coming your way in 2014 and beyond. Today we're going to be looking back at some of the biggest talking points from this year's show, including Steam machines and Valve's vision of the living room PC, the new bits of wearable tech coming to a body part near you soon, and all the latest info on Sony's exciting new streaming service, PlayStation Now.
Hi, I'm John McCann.
I'm Hugh Langley.
And there's been lots of going on at CES. Let's break it down into our three top hits. Steam machines first, Hugh.
Yeah, I mean, very little fanfare from Valve. It was like a 6-7 minute press conference, which I loved. But yeah, there are a lot of them, obviously. There was about 13 shown off at the event. What are your thoughts?
I think there's too many. 13 Steam machines. There's one PlayStation, there's one Xbox. These are consoles vying for the space on your telly. Having 13 systems doing basically the same thing, there's too much for the consumer really to think about. Yes, there's a couple of nice looking ones, the Alienware one, the iBuyPower one. I wouldn't mind sliding into my sort of living room setup, but most of them are really ugly.
I agree there are a lot, and I think for some people it might get confusing, but I think the audience is a little different here. It's just about getting PCs into the living room. If you look at the current gaming rigs people have, a lot of them are pretty ugly. It's just about getting that accessibility. You know, I'm someone who, I don't do much PC gaming at all, I'm more of a console person, but there are so many games on Steam that I've been meaning to play. This is the way I'm going to get to play them. I'm not too fussed about how good it looks, I just want to be able to play them in my living room. To me, the bigger problem is the controller. I think a lot of this hangs in the controller at the moment, and it's going to get more confusing because everyone's going to come out with their own version of the Steam controller.
Can it replace the keyboard and mouse? No, it's simple as that. Any sort of hardened PC gamer will tell you that you can't get anything more accurate than a mouse.
Yeah, I agree, and it's, you know, it's a question of can it actually replace the keyboard and mouse? That is the big thing here. If it can't, then, you know, it's not really, it feels like it's just going to sink to me.
Cool, so that's Steam machines. Now, the big buzzword of CES this year is wearable tech. Your fitness bands, your smartwatches, your connected tennis rackets. Goodness knows why they're there, but they are. So what have you been making of the sort of wearable sector?
There were some interesting ones, some less interesting ones. One that stood out for me was the Sony Core. I like the idea now that you're just going to buy essentially like a pill, tech in a pill, that you can then put into a peripheral of your choice. I think that's a cool idea, that's quite appealing. You know, some people might be put off by the idea of buying a fitness wearable and you're buying into that design. The idea that you can sort of do what you want with it, you can even put it in your pocket if you want, I think is quite cool.
Yeah, sure, it's a really nice idea and one I can see working really well, but I think Sony have missed the trick a bit because they've the only peripheral they've actually launched with it is the band, and then it just makes it another fitness band, and we've already got loads of those. It doesn't seem to be offering a lot more on top of the rivals like the Fitbit or the Nike Fuel Band. What they really should have done is launch maybe 5 or 6 peripherals, shown it in all the different ways it can be used. It can be worn like this, it can be used like this. This way is good for tracking X, Y, and Z. This one is great for A, B, and C. I think there was a lot more scope that Sony could have gone into with the Core.
Yeah, and I think we'll see more done with it. It's interesting, it's kind of like a broader product that it will show us more about our day, like the music we've been listening to and things like that. So yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. I mean, obviously there was some more traditional stuff like the LG Lifeband Touch, which has kind of a quite unique, bit rigid design by the looks of it, which might be a bit off-putting for some people, but you know, kind of cool, and also integrating some of the smartwatch features as well. Yeah,
for sure, and you know, that gap between fitness band and smartwatches is becoming ever closer with the LG band, and then also you've got your actual dedicated smartwatches at CES as well. We had the new Pebble Steel, an updated version of last year's smartwatch with a far more premium look to it, and something which I think looks a lot better than the sort of toyish option they first came out with. And also the Neptune Pine, a full smartphone on your wrist, which sounds a bit crazy, really.
It is crazy, and I think it's really missing the point of the smartwatch. I mean, it's interesting, you've got the Neptune Pi next to the Pebble, they're completely different devices. They're both smartwatches by some definition, but I don't think a lot of people want a smartphone on their wrist, and I think that's why the Neptune Pi doesn't really work for me. If you put it side by side with the Pebble, they're almost like 2 completely different devices. Pebble's got the idea of just having a notification device on your wrist, which I've long argued is exactly what a smartwatch should be. I really like the Pebble Steel. Like you said, it gets around the problem of the current Pebble, which a lot of people find is a bit toyish, a bit Lego-ish in its look. So yeah, no, I really like the Pebble Steel. Definitely on the right idea. Neptune Pine, not so much. Speaking of wearables, we had the updated Crystal Cove version of the Oculus Rift, which is quite cool. Now
that looks really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically getting around a lot of the problems that are plaguing the current version, which is motion sickness primarily. So there's a new OLED low persistence of vision display, which gets rid of the motion blur and means that we won't feel so queasy, hopefully, when we're in game. They're going to keep improving it, obviously, but for now it's a big step forward.
It's something that's really interested me as well, the whole sort of motion tracking of your actual head movement, so you can look around corners in a game by moving your head as if you were actually looking around a corner. It's really clever stuff, and it will create a more immersive gameplay experience, giving you more depth, and it's just really cool as well. Really clever tech, really well implemented, and it's putting virtual reality finally at the fore of gaming. It's been sort of bubbling along in the background, not really doing anything or being particularly well implemented, but now with Oculus it really feels like it's about to take that leap into the mainstream.
Speaking of gaming, another big one was the announcement of PlayStation Now, which is going to let us stream our games to our PS4, so stream our old PS3 games to our PS4 and to our Vita, and eventually other devices as well. What do you think of that?
I'm really excited about this one. I love the idea of being able to stream Sony's back catalogue of games to my phone, to my tablet, just, firing up a quick bit of hog wild on the original Crash Bandicoot while I'm on the train. That would be amazing. The concern I have, though, is the sort of whole streaming sector of the service. Yeah. Can our internet connections, be it mobile or wireless or even wired, be capable of dealing with a next-gen title?
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar problem that the Xbox One had when it was first announced. People don't want to be online all the time. They want the option of offline. It's a little different here, as there is a bit more of an option. But yeah, I agree, internet speed is a problem. But as that changes, as internet speeds improve, we'll see it as less and less of an issue, I think.
Definitely want to keep an eye on over the next few months.
It's really something.
So we've covered some of the main attractions from CES 2014, but there was plenty of other stuff to see too. So here are a few more of our highlights, as well as a couple of things you might have missed. Samsung showed off a bendable, yes, bendable television. The curvature can adjust to your living room setup without any loss of clarity. The picture quality is stunning, but we can't help but think, is there any point? Whether the set will ever come to market hasn't been confirmed, but Samsung did express optimism that seemed to border on certainty. It wouldn't be CES without Razer showing off its latest concept. Project Christine is the company's vision of a modular PC that aims to give even the greenest of enthusiasts the chance to try their hand at PC building. Components can be switched up simply by slotting them into the system's frame, allowing you to upgrade things like RAM, graphics and storage. Sony has finally joined the mini party with the Xperia Z1 Compact, featuring a smaller 4.3-inch screen, but still managing to cram in the same 2.2 GHz processor, 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of storage and 20 megapixel camera found in its bigger brother. It's coming next month and will be available globally, but there's been no word on price just yet. The folks over at iLock want to improve password security by removing the need for passwords altogether, and instead using our eyeballs to keep our devices secure. The Myris looks a bit like a small mouse that connects to a computer via USB. When you flip it over, a camera scans your iris and, if you're who you claim to be, then grants you access to your all-important accounts and so forth. If you want one, you'll have to get on the waiting list, but we've been told that it will be available sometime during the first half of 2014. Well, that's it for today, guys, but remember you can find all our coverage from CES 2014 over at www.techradar.com/CES. Other than that, please remember to like, subscribe, and leave us your thoughts in the comments below.